His cousins repeated the same motions under the shadowed metal eaves of the public works garage. Devoted men of great piety, they were no doubt thinking as he was of the wondrous rewards that awaited them all in paradise. All were freshly shaven, and now cleansed from the filth of the world. Halibi, the eldest, was not yet 24. "Allahu Akbar," Halibi whispered, as he grabbed a handrail and pulled himself up and into the first truck in line, squinting, curling his nose against the harsh odor of ammonia that shrouded the vehicles in an invisible cloud. 18 months of preparation had at last come to fruition. Molly Roberson brushed a curl of sandy hair out of her eyes and took a long, critical look in the bathroom mirror. This mothering thing was turning out to be more than she'd bargained for. Twin 8-year-old boys took a lot out of a girl, and she was beginning to show it. She patted the 5 pounds of extra fat that had remained on her once flat stomach after the boys were born. Jared jokingly called it her Peter belly and took full credit for causing it. She ran a thumb across her eyebrows, in desperate need of a little wax and TLC. "I don't even have time to shave my legs," she whispered to no one in particular. "Guess my plans of becoming CEO of Microsoft will have to wait a while." She'd woken early to read the paper and see her husband off to work. The weatherman said it was going to be hot, and Jared sometimes skipped wearing his bulletproof vest if she didn't get up with him and force the issue. Now, resting both hands on the counter, she sighed, blowing at the curl that kept falling across her eyes. She needed a haircut and a long bath and a visit to the chiropractor. "Mom!" It was Sam, the older of the twins by 58 minutes. She could picture him on the other side of the bathroom door, already dressed, blonde hair moosed as only an 8-year-old could moose it. "Trent says he's not coming with us, but I told him he had to because we're buying school clothes." Molly smiled, taming the errant curl with a plastic clippy from her stash in a cup beside the toothpaste. She felt much too haggard for 34. A stupid clippy in her hair and bags under her eyes. That's the way mothers of twin dynamos were expected to look, like they'd been on a 10-day drunk. She was lucky Jared was the sort of husband who could overlook a little leg stubble. She wriggled into a pair of clean but tattered black capris and a pink T-shirt before opening the door. "What's this about your brother, little dude?" She looked down at a freshly scrubbed Sam, his hair swept up in an earnest-looking pompadour. "Playing Mario Kart on the Wii?" Sam said, rolling his wide blue eyes like an adult. Molly looked at her watch. It was almost noon. They'd be lucky to find a place to park a mile from the mall. She leaned over the banister leading down to the basement. The smell of pizza and dirty socks rose up from the darkness to meet her. Jared called it the twins' man cave, no place for a woman. "Mister, you better march up here ready to go in 3 minutes." Trent, who was so slow it had taken him an hour longer than his brother just to wallow his way through the birthing process, plodded up the stairs dragging a blanket. He was slow, but he had a good-hearted glow about him that made it difficult to stay mad for long. "I don't feel so good, Mama," he said, leaning his head against his mother's chest. She couldn't help herself and mussed his tangled bedhead of blonde hair. "Seriously," he mumbled against her shirt, nuzzling her between the boobs in the naive way he was sure to lose all too soon. "I know I've been playing games all morning, but I really feel sick to my stomach." "The back-to-school sales are today, dude," Molly chided. "We've got to get your clothes and supplies." She tilted his chin up with her finger so she could look him in the eye. "I was planning to go by Cold Stone for some ice cream." With Trent, ice cream was a tried-and-true tactic. To her surprise, he shook his head, puffing out his cheeks to show the thought made him nauseous. She put the back of her hand on his forehead. Maybe he was a little feverish. "Sam's the same size as me. Can't you just get the same stuff for both of us?" he mumbled. "I'll barf all over everything if I have to go out." Molly folded her arms and looked at both her sons. If Trent was sick, she couldn't make him go. That would be way too unmotherly of her. She pursed her lips in thought. He was only 8. Even 8-year-olds needed a little TLC when they were sick. But there were the sales to consider, and Trent was mature for his age. Maybe going out at all would be too unmotherly. She was just not cut out for this. Jared Roberson spit the frayed remains of a wooden toothpick out the window of his patrol car and tried to shrug off the unidentifiable nagging in his gut. A half-mile below the rocky bluff where he sat, overlooking the Denver suburb that was his domain, a parade of 3 garbage trucks rumbled single.